All right, welcome to the Geek Together podcast. My name is Andrew. I'm the Tavern Keeper, and I've got...
Me, the Tavern Keeper's brother.
Everett. He is
Also Tavern Keeper.
He is also one of the Tavern Keepers, also my brother, and business partner, business owner. Today we are talking about what it's like being in business with your family. A ton of people say, don't go and do business with your family. We are living proof that it is possible.
But there are some good reasons to not go into business with your family.
There are some good reasons.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk about that, the good and the bad. We'll talk about structure, too, like how do you actually work with each other, and the good and the bad. But first, before we do, let's do the pre-show drinks. What is new with you? It's been a while since you've been on.
Yeah, it's been a minute. We had the holidays go through and everything, and that was fun. That was really busy and crazy. Probably one of our best months ever with December. But I specifically got some awesome new swag.
You're repping it today.
I'm repping it today. This is a Budo Brothers hood gi, it's called, which is like a hoodie and a martial arts gi combined into one. My favorite feature, it's got these magnetic closures, but it has kunai pockets. Just so when I'm at the tavern, I need to settle any tavern beefs, I have kunai.
You can throw kunai at a moment.
Yeah.
Kunai
at
is
a moment's
ninja
notice.
knife for those of you uncultured.
Yeah. And if you don't know what a kunai knife is, you're watching a geek show.
I mean, yeah, good.
We grew up on Naruto, though, so
True.
That's super fun.
True.
Yeah.
All right. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's new with me? Not much. Life. We're getting ready for the Dead Wars.
That's super exciting.
Dead Wars it's just getting closer and closer. By the time this episode airs, I will have met and either worked it out with Ginny D to have them come or not. So
that'd be a huge get.
If Ginny D's here, man, that would be awesome.
It blows my mind. We're in the first quarter of the year, but thinking about it only being 4 months away.
4 months away. It's gonna go by so fast.
The last quarter, the last 4 months, it's just, yeah.
It's Dead Wars.
When you're in this kind of business, when you're working as much as we are, quarters of a year honestly feel like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Not to stress me.
Not to stress you out.
All right, so let's talk about the main topic today, which is working with your family. So let's talk about structure first. What are our jobs? How did we figure that out? What do we do? How do we do it?
I feel like it took us quite a while, honestly, to get segregated. At least when it comes to like where we started 3 years ago versus where we are now.
The first 2 years we were
changed.
just why don't you tell us about how the structure, how we do it all?
Well, when we first started and we were just selling at Renaissance fairs and farmers markets before we had a tavern to work out of. It was all hands on deck for every activity because there was you, there's me, there's our mom. Sometimes, occasionally, our parents would help, or other siblings.
But it was just us.
But it was just us.
So we were all sales, all manufacturing.
Yeah. Everyone was. I remember late nights with the family in the garage pumping out leatherwork and even helping you with 3D printing a few times.
Yep.
And but as the business has grown, it's an impossible job to have your foot in every door of the business.
Yep.
And it makes everything scatterbrained. And so we've had defined jobs. And so you've fallen quite nicely into CEO, just overseeing a large chunk of everything and having a good direction of where everything needs to go. Mm-hmm. I've mostly fallen into just still being kind of a handyman wherever this business needs me. I'm either working at events or I'm covering the store or helping with manufacturing sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and because we still need to be crazy flexible.
Yeah.
Because we're still really small.
Because we're still small.
Yeah.
And absolutely. There's some, I mean, I'm so glad you finally got an accountant because your accounting over the last couple of years has been a little spotty.
I hired an accountant.
That's been nice.
So now we have somebody who just does accounting.
Mm-hmm.
And we merged with Sea Dragon. Mm-hmm. And so Jenny just does manufacturing and art. And so the bigger our business gets, the more we refine our jobs and concentrate our jobs so we can just focus on doing that better. But again, we're still so small, we need a handyman who can hey, this day I'm doing an event, and this day I'm at the store, and this day I'm building a structure.
And even the CEO needs to come help build a structure. He needs to go to an event.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Even though I'm a CEO, I'm definitely not sitting in an office all day where I'm doing sales.
You're on the ground.
I'm opening and closing. So, but we've had to pick up these focus things so we can have direction.
Yeah.
All right. We know who to go to when it's time to make a decision, or I know who to talk to when I need to get something done. Yeah. I know the people who I can turn to.
You heard of an event that's happening in Minnesota that you want to go to. You get Nate on it, and he'll figure everything out. And that's
Nate's
his
got
focus.
all that.
Yeah.
And if I need you and Tom to build a fireplace or work on this back room,
that's what we're doing.
That's what you guys are doing. And so it's been working for us.
Yeah. I feel like the second half of this last year, we've hit a bit of a stride when it comes to the structure that way.
Yeah. As we get bigger, as we get more staff, we'll be able to
specialize even more in our role so that we're not having our foot in 5 different doors.
But at the same time,
one step at a time.
But I think there's value to it too. Being able to be on the sales floor, being able to be at events is really good for me because I see everything that's going on. Yeah. And I never don't want to not be that. I've seen there's a YouTuber who just decided he's kind of taking a big break, which is crazy because he's been doing videos for 10 years. I can't remember his name right now. But he said there's 2 ways I could have grown. I could have hired a ton of people and then I would have just become a manager. Yeah. Or I could make a lot less content and be happy about it. So he's doing that. He's not bringing in a ton of people. And I never want to lose touch with
the front of the business, right?
Yeah.
The customer experience.
The customers and the store. I never want to be in an office in New York and I'm not connected at all.
I mean, inherently when you're hiring more staff, you're going to have less control over what you're producing.
Yes.
Right? And so the more that we are involved on the ground level, the better vision that we have of the stuff of the store and of the business, and the better we know how to implement our own changes.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't want to lose touch of that. I feel like big businesses, they lose touch.
Yeah.
Especially as a local game store, we're seeing so many cool local games, or not local. We're seeing so many cool games, but I feel like a lot of these businesses forget about the local game store.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to forget about the local game store.
Yeah. That's our daily experience. Yeah. That's what we focus on.
All right, so let's talk about. So we talked about the structure. Let's talk about the struggles. Why do people say don't go into business with your family? And I have a few ideas, but I want to open it up to you.
I mean, first I just freaking hate you. So.
You suck.
Yeah, you suck. No, well, I have a unique perspective on this because I used to work for you directly as a boss
at Jimmy John's
a couple of years ago at Jimmy John's, and I think it was about a solid year or maybe even year and a half that I worked there. Yeah. And my only relationship with you at that time was as a boss. I didn't see you outside of work.
Yeah, we didn't hang out
or anything. And that was really hard for me during that time because I felt like I'd lost really a family member. Because, I mean, not only were you insanely busy running,
being a general manager,
running this restaurant, you had your family outside of work. And so my only experience with you was you telling me what to do.
Being at work telling you if you did your job right or not.
Exactly. Working with you was just a bit weird emotionally, because I only knew you as a boss. While you were a great boss, I do feel like it kind of degraded our personal relationship.
Sure.
How that's absolutely changed with this whole experience is because it's been very collaborative from day one. I feel like we're much more in tune with just being business partners as well as still family, instead of just being boss and an employee. So it's been a much better experience this time around.
Well, good.
On that. So yeah.
Good. We're talking about why people say don't get into business with your family.
Yeah.
And I feel like one of the big things is family. You take everything way more personal with family.
Yeah.
So if somebody was to come up off of the street and be like, Andrew, you got just a trash taste in games.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give them this time of day. I'd be like, whatever. If a family member said that to me, like, I would go from 0 to angry in like a second.
Yeah.
Okay? Just because, like, and maybe not that situation, but like for whatever reason, family members just hit a lot more personally.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like maybe it's just because you've spent your whole life with them or whatever, but you're working with family or being around your family is just a lot more emotionally raw.
Yeah.
Okay? You're much more unfiltered around your family. You're more likely to be honest and be open around your family. But the problem with that, when you're in business, there is a certain degree of professionalism you need to have.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you and I are frustrated at a different employee here who works with us, okay, mom or dad or Dom, okay, when we're personally frustrated, who do we vent to? We vent to our family. So I'm going to complain to you about this employee, okay? And I might complain to my mom and stuff because they're my family. And that's what I do. Like my wife, I complain to my wife about things that are frustrating me. But the problem is if I complain to my family, that's one thing. But if I complain to my business employees and my business partners, that's way different because that degrades the professional relationship with you are. So like I can complain to my wife about stuff and I can trust her that she's going to keep that private.
Yeah.
But if I complain it's like at work. If you complain to other employees about employees,
it gets around.
It gets around.
It can absolutely sour a whole environment real quick.
Yeah, and it could destroy a work environment. And so that's, I think, one of the reasons it's so easy to vent to your family, but you can't vent to your family when you're professionally working with them too.
Yeah. It's really hard to walk that fine line of what it's okay to vent about and what's not. When all of the things that you're frustrated with, the business that you share with this person, you pretty much got to have that on lock.
And we've set up, because this was an issue, we set up some pretty strict rules about if you have a frustration with an employee or a coworker, this is how you deal with it. Okay? So I can't go and vent to mom about you.
Yeah.
If I have a problem with you, we have to talk about it, and I can't be complaining to anybody else. And same thing, if you have a problem about mom, you can't be venting to me. You have to
deal with
talk
that
to
person
mom.
directly. Yeah.
And that's also the other reason why we have the CEO structure. Yeah. So we have me at the top who I can mitigate and I can control some things. That's not easy to do in a family scenario.
Feelings can get hurt real fast, and even on the less extreme side of it, like you were saying earlier, you're more honest and generally with your family. There's a lot of honesty you need in a business, obviously, but because it gets taken so personally, even little stuff where you need to correct an action or be like, hey, this process needs to be done a different way. It can just get personal really easy, where someone might just be like, oh, you don't think my work is valuable or anything, when really it's like, no, we want to correct an action, and it's but because it's coming from a family member, it feels different than coming from a fellow work person.
For sure. And an example is I had to redirect an employee here because I had said one thing and they had done something else completely different.
Right.
And I had to be like, I'm talking to you as boss. Like, this is job, Andy, right now. I am talking to you professionally. We had said this, we had agreed to this, but you had done something different. So I'm letting you know that that's not how we do things.
Yeah.
Now, personally, that doesn't change anything about you and me. I still really love working with you, and I'm just letting you know professionally we have to talk about these things. But we need to almost put Boss Andy and your family friend
the segregation of how we deal with our family, it needs to be, we need to be on top of it all the time, or else it can get hairy.
Yeah, and it's constant work too.
Oh,
we
yeah.
Can't, we always got to be talking. But that's another problem, unfortunately. When you're in business with your family, anytime you get together with your family, it's really tempting to just talk about business. Anytime we're out of work, we go over and we have a family dinner.
Or playing Smash Brothers.
Or we're playing Smash Brothers. We're going to want to talk about work. Oh, I had this idea about work. Oh, hey, we should do this. Or, hey, we need to do this. And so, like, it's really easy to get your personal life.
They just bleed together.
Yeah, it bleeds together. And so you go home and you're still in work mode. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I never wanted my wife to work with me at Jimmy John's. And I don't really want her to work here. As much as I love my wife and she'd be an amazing worker.
Yeah.
I just want to, when I spend time with her,
you're away from work.
I'm
not
away
even
from
about
work.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about work. And I'm not the best
it's not
at
perfect.
it.
No.
I bring work home all the time.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't want my life to be always work. And when you have family with your work, it just makes that harder.
Yeah.
It just blurs that line even more.
Yeah.
What are other reasons why you don't get in business with your family?
I mean,
if there's any more. Those are the big ones.
That's the big one. It's just it's hard to be emotionally and professionally honest when you guys aren't on the same page about stuff.
True. And
I think that's it.
I can see why a lot of people shouldn't go into business with their family.
Yeah.
I think we are pretty lucky that we have a pretty healthy family dynamic.
I agree. Now, I don't know if it's always been that way.
No,
but,
it hasn't. We've had to work at it.
Yeah, but
we've had some rough patches.
Yeah, but
again,
we've struck a stride, and we're doing pretty good. I think.
But it's working right now.
Yeah.
And we have set up some systems in place where if we really need to cut ties, we have protected the business.
Right.
Like you have an ownership part of the business.
Yeah.
I have an ownership part of the business. If you ever like, I want to go do my own thing, you can walk away with your ownership of the business and get compensated for your hard work.
Yeah.
Not that I ever want
no
you to
one's
leave.
just going to get cut out, thrown to the street. And
and that's
and
the other
be
thing
left
is
with
like
nothing.
I can't just arbitrarily be like, all right, Everett, as CEO, you're fired.
Right.
That's not something in my power. We made sure that anything like that has to go through the whole board.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we've tried to be as smart as we can about it.
Right, and we'll see. Hopefully it works out.
We'll see. Yeah.
So that's the bad, but what's the good?
Honestly, just from an emotional standpoint, I feel like we have never been more in sync and as personable as we are with each other than ever before.
So it's improved personal relations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. So, if you work well with your family, it's a great experience, in my opinion.
I feel like another reason that's a plus is it's so easy to communicate.
Yeah, absolutely.
We merged, again, with Sea Dragon Cove, and these are people who we didn't work with before or just barely worked with.
Yeah.
And we have had to learn how to communicate with them. And it's like anytime you get a new employee or a branch or whatever in your business, the way they do things is different from the way you do things and the way you
Always
talk.
going to be a bit of a
expectations.
learning curve.
And so, like, anytime you bring on somebody new, there's something else you kind of have to learn about that person. But with family, like, we know each other so well. It's like we could, like, I could almost guess what mom is going to need done before she even asks.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty darn handy to have when
absolutely.
you have to be working.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think communication's really easy with family.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I can just literally text you or call you whenever. Like,
True.
There's no. I mean, if you're on a date, I'm not going to bug you.
yeah, but yeah,
I mean,
we Easy communication.
Easy.
What are some of the other benefits? You're here.
Something, yeah.
You're here. We have family.
Well, okay, yeah, absolutely. Work feels like home in a good way for me. I can spend 14 hours at work, and it doesn't feel like draining. Like I want to get away. Like it's so much more comfortable of an environment
True.
than any other job I've had.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's comfy, cozy, and as a family member, like you know what each person is capable of.
Yeah.
So like my weaknesses. Like I'm pretty terrible at spelling, and I'm pretty forgetful.
And you be a bit scatterbrained.
And
sure.
I'm very
yeah.
scatterbrained. So my shortcomings professionally, but you can work past those.
Oh yeah.
Because we're family. You're like, I
know this thing's coming up that you might not be thinking about, so I'm going to remind you, or I'm going to make sure that it is on track.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you can pick up my slack. Where in a workspace, when there's somebody who isn't, when employees when your coworkers have weaknesses, you can have that mentality of, well, how can I help my coworkers? But you can also view it as like, well, they're not.
It can
pulling
hold
their
you
weight.
back a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not pulling their weight.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can be resentful.
Yeah.
To the people who aren't performing at the level you are. And so being able to work with family, you guys can support each other in ways that you need to support each other without it.
Yeah.
Without it without
Resentment building. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's something easier to do because I know you on a personal level that I wouldn't most coworkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, you're here as in like I have a good coworker.
Yeah.
Because I know you. And
yeah.
I have another good coworker in Mom. And I know Dad can do these things. And so it's like, instead of having to, like, I came into this life with these coworkers.
Yeah.
Is kind of how to look at it.
Well,
and
honestly, your coworkers are taking up so much, like a huge percentile of your day-to-day life. It's a huge part of your life. And if you're stuck in a situation where you don't get along well or you don't communicate well with a coworker, that can be detrimental.
Oh yeah.
To your life, to how you work and how you're feeling on the day-to-day. And so it's honestly been kind of great to just share a space with people that you know so well.
A lot of people quit their jobs just because they do not like the people they work with.
Yeah, bad coworker makes or breaks an environment.
Yeah, seriously. So, yeah. All right. But anything else?
I know I said I hate you, and
yeah, it's likewise.
Still hate you.
It's mutual. But yeah, it's good to be able to work with you.
It's been great. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's definitely not for everyone.
No. I know so many people who could not work with the families that they have.
So I understand why people say don't go into business with your family.
And if you have a family where you feel like you might not be able to work with them, don't work with them.
Yeah. Like, don't feel obligated.
Because they're your family.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, there's 6 of the kids in the family.
Yeah.
And it's only you and me.
Yeah, not all of them are here. Yeah.
And I love all my siblings, but I don't know if as a business we would hire all of the siblings.
Right.
Just because what we need in a business is maybe not what they are able to provide.
And not only that, like what they need out of a work environment, we might not be in a position to provide.
That's
it's
very
honestly
true.
Better for both parties.
Yeah. So yeah, even though we're like, we like working together as family.
It's a great environment for us, not essentially for them.
So really what it's saying is, Andrew and Everett, you can work together.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying I can work together with every one of my family members.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or go into business with any one of my family members.
Right.
There's definitely a few aunts and cousins who I absolutely would
No
avoid.
way.
Like the
no
plague.
way, man.
And so, yeah.
Yeah.
So really, at the end of the day, if you're going to go into business with somebody,
Be smart about it.
be very, very smart about it.
Very careful.
Because if you go into somebody who you don't get along with, or you have problems with, or you can't communicate with, doesn't matter how good your business is. It'll
be really hard, and there's going to be resentment.
It'll be miserable.
Yeah,
It'll die.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah. You need to be able to work with people you trust. All right. Well, let's wrap up this
Last call.
show.
Yeah.
Last call for drinks. Anything interesting, exciting happening in the nerd space you want to talk about?
Something I'm super excited about, and by the time this airs, it's probably just going to be a few days away, but the Authors in the Dungeon.
Authors in the Dungeon.
You have no idea how stoked I am.
Are
about
you
this
getting
event.
one of the tickets?
I really want to. and I think I will. I just need to
Save some money.
I just need to save some money. But
So, yeah, Authors in the Dungeon, January 20th.
Mm-hmm.
We have Christopher Paolini.
Paolini.
We
Yeah.
have all of these other fantasy authors coming in.
Yeah.
And they're doing the normal thing where they can sign books and they're doing some talks,
Talking on
some
some
panels.
yeah.
But the highlight is you can play D&D with these authors.
With these authors. And
It's-
that is what I'm most excited about. I mean, the VIP ticket's cool. It's going to come with lanyard, like
Sweet swag
reserved
bag.
seating
Yeah.
for panels and swag bag and stuff. But the coolest part of it is going to be playing an RPG with my favorite author of all time.
How cool is that?
Like, who gets to say they've done that?
I would love, like, my role models, like
Yeah.
the people who I, like, look up to. If I ever had the chance to be able to sit down and play a 2 to 3 hour game of
Yeah,
TTRPG,
honestly.
like, that would be a dream.
Like, it's almost something you can't put a price on.
Yeah, and so
Except there's a price on it.
yeah, you can buy
You have
a
to pay.
ticket. You do have to pay. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
free. But yeah, what a cool event that they're putting together. The
And it's all
authors of
for
the
a
Dungeon team.
nonprofit, so it's
Yeah. The money's going to a nonprofit, and it's supporting all of these local authors.
Yeah.
All of these fantasy authors here in Utah, and also some bigger ones too, because I know Christopher Paolini isn't here in Utah. But,
Yeah. Montana, I think is where he's from.
But yeah, to be able to
Not
support
that I'm a
these-
nerd or anything and know where
a
Christopher
diehard
Paolini
fan
lives.
is like, yeah, he's on 134 Avenue. Here's a drone shot of his house. Yeah, it's super exciting to be able to do something like this.
Besides the Dead Wars, out of all the events we've done, this is probably going to be my second just favorite one in terms of my excitement for
You know
it.
the best thing about it? We didn't have to do it.
That's true. We're like, use our space. Eric, you take care of everything else.
Yeah, so
And that's been great.
we're not putting it together. We
Right.
don't have to reach out to the authors. All we're doing is we're providing the space for the people. Like, we'll have really cool
We're hosting
decorations.
the space, and day of, we're going to do a lot for the event.
Oh yeah, like we're in charge of making sure the authors are comfortable and security and all this jazz and the mall. Like, we're definitely doing work for
But
it.
the marketing, reaching out to all of the authors and getting all of the events
all the
set
planning,
up, all the
creating
planning,
the panel.
we've just been able to not
Just
worry
sit
about
back
that,
and not worry.
which is nice.
It's been very nice.
Yeah.
So I can sweat about the Dead Wars instead.
Yeah, have
Yeah.
fun with that.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I agree. Authors in the Dungeon, January 20th. That's huge. The other cool thing happening in the nerd space is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Battle Royale.
Oh yeah, in February.
February
Do you know what day? 17th.
February
Okay.
17th, we're
Yeah.
going to take over the whole mall. A Battle Royale. 100 Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. All battling
They're
down.
going to be trading like star chips and everything
Yeah,
when they
they're
defeat
gonna.
their enemies.
You'll start out with 2 star chips, and
Nice.
you have to get up to 10, and so that'll blast away most
Okay.
of the competition, and then only the people with 10 are gonna.
I kind of want to like make a custom dual disc or something.
I want to go super nerdy.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna spike my hair up and everything.
yeah, I've got the Seto Kaiba costume. I've got his coat,
Yeah.
and I just got his black shirt, and Mom's making me his blue belts that he just buckles belts on himself.
Oh,
just
here's
like-
what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make some bracers that has inserts for the star chips.
Oh,
so
there you
that
go.
so that I could have my loadout and then like a deck, like bandolier or everything. Where
Oh.
instead of a sword, I got quick draw deck.
Dude,
just
a
ready to go.
bandolier
Yeah,
of all the
like
stars,
yeah.
of all the defeated
Yeah, my
duelists.
defeated duelist. Oh man, it's gonna be so cool.
I know. So that's happening February 17th. A lot more news.
That
is
was
gonna
like
be
my
coming out
first
about
favorite
that.
anime, I think.
Yeah.
Did we get into that before Naruto or after?
Oh, definitely before.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Naruto we had to like pirate. So.
Off of MySpace, if I remember correctly.
Something like
There's
that.
some guy just posting all the dubbed episodes of Naruto on his MySpace page.
Yeah, so
and that's where we watched it.
No, because Yu-Gi-Oh was on Kids WB,
Right.
so
yeah.
we could watch that prime time.
That was great.
So yeah, those are
Those are
the
good times, man. Man, early
Back-
2000s just hit different.
back when the life was so easy. Yeah, those are the cool upcoming things. We've got. You can find us on all of the social media platforms. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. All right, most
Not
of the
X
social
yet.
media. We're what? Not
Twitter.
X. No,
Sorry.
I'm never gonna get out.
Never?
Never.
That's where everybody is, though.
If you want to get canceled, yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, we're never gonna get on X. Or Threads.
I've never heard of Threads.
Threads is like the competition today. Anyway, whatever. Who cares? We're not talking about social. But we're on the social media platforms. We're under Geek Together or We Geek Together. You can find us. We post quite regularly. And coming up, if not already, we'll be doing some live streams of things going on here in the store. Either
So
games.
excited about
In
that.
fact, maybe we'll have a live stream of Authors in the Dungeon for those of you who can't come. If
Some
we
of the
could just
VIP games,
If
that
we
would
could
be
just
really
set
cool.
up a camera in the corner so people can see what's
Yeah.
going on.
Mhm.
And there's definitely going to be a live stream for
Dead Wars.
the Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh,
event.
yeah. Okay.
Either a live stream or a video.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, content's coming out.
Always working on new stuff.
Hope you follow along.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.